Hi guys, welcome back. Today we are going to take care of these tomato plants. It is time to pull them up, and while I get them pulled up, I'm going to pick all the tomatoes off and put in the 2 bowls that I have set to the side. So let's get started. So I'm hoping to fill these 2 bowls. And the reason I am pulling them is because it is time. I don't see no more green tomatoes, or well, there are green tomatoes, but they're not wanting to ripen. It is the middle of September and they just need to come out. So we're going to go ahead and get one of these bowls down here with us. Trying to figure out the best way to do this, if I want to pull them and then pick them, or pick them and then pull them. So any tomato that has blushing on it, we will pick, put in the bowl. I might keep the green ones that are on here, just because I know they'll ripen off the vine. All going to depend on if I have enough bowl space. And there are all kinds of them laying on the ground. We're just going to throw, if they have a lot of green ones, I might just toss them up here. And then I'll think about picking them off later. Get all the ones with a little bit of color. These are all wound up in our tomato cages. And if I find any split ones, I am just going to throw them back down in the garden area. These are going to get composted down through the winter and then tilled up next spring when we go get our garden ready. So it's going to be okay if I throw them down below. And then I'm also going to try to get some of these weeds out of here that decided they were going to take over. Toss those to the side. I should have gloves on doing this because I've said before, tomato plants really bother my skin. I'm almost on the verge of being allergic to them because I break out in a rash. It's really hard to pick tomatoes when you have gloves on. Be careful about how I grab these weeds down here because they are thistle plants, so I don't know if you can look at those big old nice tomatoes on there. Actual tomato that I missed up here on this plant. Ooh, oh. Only lost 2 that time. I have a bad habit of kicking my tomato bowl. So there's some tomatoes on the ground here that just fell off. I'm gonna make sure I get those. also debating whether I want to put these back in the bed after I'm done and let them compost in there. And that's only because come next spring I'm going to be disassembling these beds and rebuilding them, making them bigger. And some of the beds, like the ones below me that you see me plant green beans and zucchini in, they have big old boulders at one end. So I want to make sure I get those taken out of there. And I have huge plans for my garden. All of these tomatoes are just hidden inside all of this plant. These black tomatoes have definitely been my favorite this year. I don't know if I said in my other videos, but I got them at our local feed store. It's kind of a feed and clothing store combined, and they have a nursery every year, and that's where I got them. I'm going to have to make sure I get more next year. Look at all of those tomatoes on there. I'm definitely going to have another round of tomato soup that I can make out of these, because there's definitely enough for that. It's probably in the black ones alone. Definitely did really well in this little garden bed. Better than I was expecting them to do. Got an itch on my eyeball. Kid does not want to come out of there. I'm just gonna have to rip all the plants out like this. This tomato cage is just tied up in tomato plants. Well, that cage needs to be repaired. That's okay. We got it out of there. Alright, I gotta grab my clippers right quick because I'm gonna have to cut that out of there. Alright, got my handy dandy clippers right here. It's a little easier to get out of there. One from here. I think that's the end of the black ones. Just dropped a couple. Alright. So that is the end of the black tomato plant. So this is how much I got. About half a bowl full. So we're going to go ahead and move to the other side where the red plant is. We'll be back when we get over there. Alright, hopefully you can see this end. With my garden being on the hillside, it's a little hard to angle the camera where it doesn't fall over. So we're picking all these red ones and we're going to do the same and start ripping the vines and then throwing them off to the side once we get the tomatoes off. These red ones have been the most prolific, but I think it's probably because there's more than one plant. They just don't seem to really want to quit growing. And with these ones, I'm only taking the ones that are a good way ripe. I'm not gonna worry about saving any green ones. So you can kind of see they're starting to die off. So it is time to pick them. And they're shriveling up. You can see those right there. Those are all shriveled. So they don't look good. We're just going to toss them out to the side. But if they look decent, we'll keep them. Quite a bit on the bottom of this, so we'll go ahead and grab those. These all on here look fairly decent, but I'm just going to take these bottom ones, those red ones up top, looking a little dry. Got a squished one in there. We're going to throw that now. Fall down the hill. Alright, got a bunch on here. With them all buried in the plants like they were, it's a little hard for me to get to them. So there's probably going to be way more in here than I realize. not going to take them all off the vine. I don't want the little tiny ones. Which is mostly what was on there. These are supposed to be cherry tomatoes, but they're not supposed to be super tiny. So I think the bed just got overcrowded. Didn't have enough room to grow for this one. You hear my turkeys in the background. They like to talk all day. Those are just kind of really small ones, so I'm not worried about those. I can't get this. Whew, my son really put these in there tight. I don't think I'm getting it out until I get all the tomato away from it. I cannot wait until next year's garden season. I missed not having a garden this year. So the little bit that I did plant and the little bit that my son planted helped quite a bit with, the garden issue of not being able to have any. I was thankful I had a little bit of a garden, but these tomato pages do not. Try not to fall down the hill. Oh, it wound up in the tomatoes. So all these green tomato cages are definitely gonna need to be fixed. Some of the ones off of this. I'm really just aiming to fill the 2 bowls that I came out with. That way I know I'll have enough to make another batch of tomato soup. We're getting into some of my yellow ones over here. See these yellow ones right here. These ones I'm going to keep as many as I can. These are the sugar plum one, I think they're called sun sugar or sugar sun. All I know is they're super sweet. And they ended up being my favorite. Those 2 are cracked, so I don't want to keep those. I would say these were second to the black ones. So we definitely will be growing these next year as well. And we have some of our plum ones. These were planted for my daughter. They don't ripen real fast, so she's rarely here when they ripen. So we're going to try to keep as many of those as we can find as well. Dogs are going to fit probably won't be pulling all the tomato plants today, just because my hands are gonna get sore from all of the tomato stuff that's on them. I'm just gathering a bunch of yellow ones here. Some of the yellow ones are kind of dried up as well. It's definitely a pretty array of colors when you plant all different varieties of tomatoes. My neighbors down below us have honeybee hives, and I'm always seeing I'm assuming it's their honeybees because of the sheer amount that I see up here. And they're just like right over the bank behind me. And they're always flying around me. That one's a cracked one. I'm not keeping these lower ones. Only because they've been stepped on and walked on. And they're mainly squished. Here, this tomato page out. I'm not sure where y'all can see it. Alright, yeah. So there's a lot of yellow ones down in here, and some more black ones that I found. I need to get those off the vine. That way when I pull them, I don't swing them. These are the yellow and black ones. These ones are the sun sugars. These are the pears, and I can't remember what those are called. Lots of tomatoes laying in the actual garden bed. As I pull them up, the good ones that I see, I'm actually just going to throw them back in the garden bed, and I'll pick them out later. That way I don't drop them on the ground after I grab them. There's definitely a ton on this one. Chicken's making a funny sound. I'll probably go check on her here in a minute. Some of these tomatoes that are like right in the middle are a little on the rotten side. I'm just picking off some of the good ones. I'm going to leave the bad ones on the actual plant because they are really, really squished. Alright, I will be back. My chicken's really making a funny noise. Well, I don't know what the chickens were making such a fuss about. Walked down there, I don't see anything wrong with them. They did decide they needed to make a fuss. All these purple ones right there, they're all rotten, so we're just gonna leave them on the stem. Looks like I just have a couple more plants to pull out. Any of these ones that I've dropped on the ground, I will look through them and see if they're still good to keep. This big one out right here. The only one that wanted to come up by the root. I'm just cleaning this out enough so I can find all the tomatoes. There are a lot that fell on the ground. Oh, I have some peppers. There was pepper plants planted in here, and I didn't think they grew, but I found a couple peppers. I will show those to you here in a second as soon as I get to them. It's always nice when you find fun surprises in your garden that you didn't think you were going to get. This purple tomato plant, it went crazy. There was, I think, only one plant of it, but it took over like the whole tomato bed. Oh, there it is. Got all these yellow ones on this plant. My more heavy-duty tomato cages, so they don't break quite as easy as these little wire ones, I tell ya. Next year I will not be using tomato cages to stick up tomatoes. I'm going to be using branch panels and tomato tape to tie them up. Tomato cages are great if you only have a few tomatoes, but I have more than a few tomatoes that I plant, so okay. Got one of my peppers. And these are like little orange peppers. In just a second I'll show you. It was actually I think it was just orange peppers. They're still kind of growing, so maybe I'll just leave them. I couldn't even, oh my goodness. There's still one on the plant, so I think I'll just leave it there. But I didn't even realize I got any. These are the peppers that I got. So that's a nice surprise. And I love orange peppers. Alright, so I'm gonna go ahead and alright, so these are all the tomatoes that are on the ground. These are the what fell off the bush. And then a big old spider in here. I'm not a spider fan. So here is what I grew for bell peppers, and there's still one bell pepper on the plant. The plant looks healthy, so I'm gonna actually just leave it and water it because the roots in this pack, they actually grew down in the ground, so they're fairly rooted. So we're gonna just leave it, see what it does. In the meantime here, we'll go ahead and pick the tomatoes that are up off the ground, because these ones are all really good. Probably won't grab them all, especially the unripe ones. I don't think I want to lay, I was thinking maybe I'll just lay the unripe ones on the counter because I know they'll ripen, but I don't think I really want to. Next year I'll have to make sure I have a spot to put green tomatoes if need be. But like tomatoes like that one, they need to stay I think my chickens are just picking on each other. See, I'm not a fan of spiders, and that's a jumping one. So we're just gonna kind of move to this side of the bed. Grab these tomato ones over here. If I see another spider, these tomatoes are just gonna stay where they're at. The spiders can have them. All right, actually I think that's probably it. So most of these over here are rotten, not to mention there's a spider crawling around, so the spider can have them. There's my bull that I got. Oh, he is chasing me down. And then my pepper plant, we're just gonna let grow. I'm gonna knock some of these weeds back a little and see if I can't pull. I'll break that weed off. All right, so I'll water this plant probably tonight. It's kind of dry. I might come out here in a little bit to water it. But yeah, there is my garden, tomato bed all cleaned up. There's one pile of tomatoes, 2 piles of tomatoes, so all those will go back in the bed. All right, guys, well, that's the end of tomatoes for this year. Like I said, next year we will have way more tomatoes planted, and they're gonna be tied up to ranch panels, so a lot easier to pick. But stay tuned, because my green beans are doing really good, so is my zucchini and beets. And when they are ready to be picked, I will bring you out here. That little spider does not like me being next to it. Anyways, I'll bring you out here to show you all the stuff that I got off of it. I'm just keeping an eye on that spider. It's a jumping spider. I really don't like them. Let me just move this way. But anyways, if you like this video, please like and subscribe and share. And until next time, have a great day.